Good afternoon, Vyacheslav. Can you see and hear us well? Yeah, everything's good. You wrote so much, can you tell us briefly? I am very interested in the story about aliens. Briefly? Well, about the aliens, it can be a bit longer, and for the rest, briefly, yes. I will start with aliens then. Back then, we lived in a village in Kazakhstan. I was around 7 years old back then. It was winter. It was night. My father decided to go to the well to get some water. And I suddenly felt very strongly that I need to go with him. This feeling was irresistible. I've asked my father and he didn't mind at all. We left our home and walked about 20 meters. Our house was near the river. There was a big field, around 5 kilometers wide. And also there was a highway. So we are walking to the well, and my attention got caught by something that looked like car lights, which moved on that road. And I've asked my father, what is that, because I realized that it wasn't a car. We stopped and looked, and my father said, no, it's a car. But I said, no, the car can't drive so fast. When I said that, those two bright lights changed suddenly their direction, and in a matter of seconds they flew to us, and there were two massive ships flying above us. They were flying very low at the height of a house roof, and we were very shocked with my father. I can't remember how long they were there, but I clearly remember the moment they left. They left as sudden as they came. They flew up in space. The night sky was very starry, and in a matter of a second they disappeared, leaving a trace in the shape of a spiral behind them, made of little ice crystals, and it all went very high up in the sky. It was very beautiful and very impressive. Did you take a good look at the ship, because it was very close to you? I can't remember it very well. Back then, yeah, it all was so close. But I can't remember it very well right now, but I remember that it was. I was also talking to my father. He also remembers it, but his memory is a bit different from mine. He was a bit drunk back then. But what was the shape? Was they spherical or was they pyramids? They were spherical. Very and very interesting. And from that moment, periodically, we saw them 2 times with my father. Again, but way higher in the sky. And I saw them few times by myself as well. Did you see them in the same place or in other places? In other places. But it always was the same. Before I saw them, I knew. I felt that right now I need to look up in the sky in a certain spot. I've always felt that. I have a goosebumps right now, like I also have some connection with it as well. Basically it. And from that moment on, after that situation, there were other very interesting and special situations as well, back there in Kazakhstan. The whole village saw it. Which part of Kazakhstan? Kenerau village right at the border with Chelyabinsk state. There was also a river Uy flowing at the border. There was also a situation in the summer sunset when I was walking back home, while the sun was setting and I was going back home. A massive human face was formed from a massive cloud and looked from side to side. over the village. Everyone saw it, and nobody knew what was that, how to understand it. And after that I've started to see the souls of dead people, but not for long. When my grandfather died, I remember his spirit walking around the apartment, and I was certain that it was him. And I also started seeing different creatures. I could wake up at night and I could see somebody sitting and looking back at me. At first I wasn't scared, but then I told my parents and they got scared. And they told you to be afraid? Yes, they told me to be afraid. And then I started seeing dreams I told you about. They were very vivid and at the same time very scary. I am feeling that somebody is trying to scare me, but I can't figure out who. Last few times in my dream I was walking around my apartment where I live right now, trying to figure out who is there, but nobody's there. I only see myself in the mirror reflections. But still I feel someone's presence, and then I wake up. And the dream is so realistic that when I wake up, I can't figure out, am I still dreaming or I already woke up. I don't know what else to tell you. When you started seeing the spirits, how old were you? And did you say just stop, or it just stopped by itself? Maybe you refused it or something. I stopped seeing around 14, right after my grandfather died. My mom might have something to do with it because she got really scared back then. I stopped seeing, but I didn't stop feeling. All of it went into empathy. I've learned to read people's condition independently of past or future. I could immerse deeply, travel there. Did you feel light or heavy after those immersions? It all depends. Sometimes I felt very light and sometimes I felt very heavy. But mostly light. I really liked it and it filled me. But then I met a friend, and my friend is a psychotherapist. He got really interested in my story and we started doing immersions together. I was diving in and he was asking the questions. It was different depth that we tried to dive in, and it was the first time that I've asked myself a question: how to recognize the purity of the information, because he started feeling very sick. And I felt the opposite, and there was a very strange feeling that as a conductor I have no understanding, no clue. I have no clue how to filter it, how to filter the information. What's real and what's an illusion? Yeah. Somehow on the level of my intuition I understood that it might be real, but without an explanation, plus the information that I gave to people, mostly domestical stuff, that what they were interested in, and most of that information, 80%, was true. So for over 8 years I was actively studying myself through it all. And during that 8 years, most of the feedback I got was, yeah, that it's true. The way I see it. but still the doubts and the question remains. And then I started doing different practices, body therapies, meditations. And at some point, after different energy cleansing procedures, I understood that this condition is more comfortable for me, that condition of cleanness. But this condition is very easy to lose and I have no idea how to keep it. And plus I realized that in those immersions and even in normal modern life, it is very easy to catch some energy dirt. And I don't even understand when it is happening. It is very interesting. And I think that when you're talking about different places, you can be in different realities. You might be seeing not one reality, but different realities. That is why some of them are bright, some of them are gray and illusionary. It is just a transition from one reality into another. It is very easy for me to get into this condition, and sometimes I even can be in two places at once, without understanding where is what. Yeah, it sounds very familiar.